Since I did a video on my mother's death, I'm going to talk also about my brother's death, which is equally as painful, but in a totally different way, because brother versus mother are obviously two different kind of relationships. But my brother's death was mysterious. It was horrible. He died on Christmas Eve 2016. His death was ruled accident, pedestrian error. He was crossing the street and got struck by an automobile. He was intoxicated, alcohol, but also the autopsy showed that he had minute traces of PCP in his system. My brother did not do PCP. That was something that disturbed me. Okay, one of many variables that concerned and disturbed me. He was homeless. He had been homeless for 9 years. And prior to his death, I found out word was that somebody on the street wanted to kill him. Somebody wanted him gone. For jealousy. He was a homeless man. He'd been homeless for 9 years, as I said. But he had found quote-unquote shelter. He slept in the back of a trailer, tractor-trailer, in exchange for keeping an eye on the business overnight, because it was a tire business, automobile tire company. And so he slept in a trailer on the grounds in the back of the business and kept an eye on the place in exchange for at least being out of the rain. He wasn't warm in the back of a trailer, tractor trailer, you know. When it was 20 degrees outside, he felt that. But at least he was dry. So, yeah, another homeless person who might have been perhaps sleeping in the woods or on a bench would have been jealous over that, might have been. And the person that felt this for my brother, how he was on the street after doing what he did just a year prior, I don't know. But just a year prior to my brother's death, Christmas Eve 2015, this man who wanted my brother gone robbed a complete stranger, pulled a ruse, claimed to have been attacked, and this unknowing stranger tried to help him. And in the midst of that, he got robbed. The victim handed over the money to this creep, and this creep still stabbed this poor guy in the forehead. So this guy should have been in prison doing a 20-year stretch at the very least for attempted murder, armed robbery, attempted murder, wouldn't you think? But 10 months after being in jail, he got out. I don't know how. I don't know the circumstances. And then my brother ends up dead. My brother was seen with him the night that he died. I have a video coverage of my brother with this guy. Why my brother was with him, I don't have answers to, you know. The video coverage from businesses, local businesses of that night, there was no audio, it was just visual. So you didn't hear, like, conversation. But my brother was afraid of this man. There's a lot of things that doesn't make sense, you know. I spoke to my brother 2.5 hours before he died. On Christmas Eve, he called me. I had sent him Christmas card and some money, which I'd always done every year. I never forgot my brother for Christmas, being homeless, you know. I couldn't turn my back on him. Yes, he could be a bastard when he drank. He could become one hateful bastard, you know, and I'd be the first to say so. And anybody that knew him would also say so, you know, but underneath the alcoholism and things like that, he had a good heart. He was just different. He couldn't read or write, you know, he had a learning disability, and he had some challenges, but I digress. Okay, he had called me on Christmas Eve 2.5 hours before he died. He'd been waiting for this card from me with the money, and he'd called to say, sis, I didn't get it yet. And I'd said, you know, I'm sorry. I mailed it almost a week prior. I don't know why you hadn't gotten it, but he didn't. And I felt horrible because it was the first Christmas where he hadn't gotten money from me or a gift, warm, you know, clothes to keep warm or whatever. And I felt bad for him because nobody else in the family had anything to do with him. And I, you know, understandably, because of what the alcoholism had done to him, it made it hard, you know, it took its toll. It was taxing on family and stuff. But for me, being, you know, struggling with addiction myself, I understood the dynamic, and I knew it was like I couldn't turn my back on him. You know, I wanted him to know that he could at least turn to somebody who understood, somebody that cared. But that night when he called, you know, he seemed accepting. He was just calling to say, hey, I hadn't gotten it. Christmas Eve was on a Saturday, so there was mail. And I said, I'm really sorry. I really wanted you to have something in your pocket Christmas Eve, you know, whether it was money, a Christmas card, something from me. Because I'm not there with you. I couldn't physically meet up with him that year. And he was like, well, he says, it'll be there on Tuesday. You know, tomorrow being Sunday is Christmas. Monday there's probably in the mail, so it'll be there, you know, Tuesday I'll get it then. And again I said, I'm really sorry. He's like, don't worry about it, little sis, you know. He says, it's like, please believe me that I did send. He said, I know you did. I said, you know, because I wouldn't have said that I sent it when I didn't. That wasn't me to do that. So, you know, he's like, well, he says, look, he said, I'm going to go ahead and go. He says, I'll give you a call on Tuesday. And I said, and he got ready to hang up. I said, hey, you. I said, hey, I love you. He said, oh, I love you too, little sis. You know, I said, hey, be careful. You know, stay warm, be safe. It's like, oh, well, all right. That was always, all right, you know. It was the last time I talked to him. It took 3 days for the police to locate me, to contact me about his death. I was his emergency contact. So Christmas Day came, and I went through Christmas believing all was well, because I'd spoke with him. I'd spoke with my other family members, and everything seemed well and fine. And I got the call. And the officer said, you know, I want to send somebody. I want to come out and talk to you. And I said, well, I'm not accessible to you. I'm not there, I'm not local. It's about, this is about your brother. And Ed said, don't tell me that he's, and he said, he paused for a second, he said, yes, he is. It's like, I'm sorry, And I said, how? Told me that he was struck by an automobile while crossing the street. And he told me what street it was, and I was like, something doesn't make sense here. My brother crossed that street 1,000,000 times. And it was through his associates, his friends and stuff, that I learned about this other person that wanted him dead. And there were strange things with the funeral when I went to the funeral. There were things that didn't make sense. But at the end of the day, it was ruled accidental death, pedestrian error. The driver wasn't even given a ticket. It's a slap in the face to me. Because, yes, my other brother and sister, were hurt also, went through a lot of things, but I was close with my brother. I had contact with him. I still tried to do whatever I could to help him get off the street. The problem was he didn't want to get off the street unless it was ridiculously cold, unbearable, but his alcoholism had him by the balls, that it took precedence over everything else. And I understood that. It was painful for me because I wanted more for him than that, because I knew firsthand what addiction was. But unless you want something better for yourself, it's not going to happen, no matter how much somebody else may want that for you. Then the autopsy report came back and showed minute traces of PCP, and I told the corporal, the investigator, I'm like, this is not my brother. My brother did not do PCP hallucinogenics. Why was he with this guy who robbed somebody and stabbed somebody in the forehead a year prior on Christmas Eve? Why was my brother with this guy? This guy had, word on the street that he wanted to kill my brother. He was jealous. There are things that don't add up here, I stayed on their ass, but without the proof, there was not much to go on. My brother died at 52 years old. And I miss him terribly, but there too, as is the case with my mother or my sister, I wouldn't wish him back into a life of homelessness and alcoholism. I just wouldn't. Well, because I miss him. Again, how selfish is that? He's at peace, but he died instantly. He was DOA. So at least he didn't lay there gasping for air. His neck snapped upon impact, but I still haven't wrapped my mind around this. It's a year and a half later. I haven't.